Morning, guys. It is time that I tell you guys my story. I am really nervous right now. Alright, so if you read the title of the video, you know what this is about. So let's just jump right into it. My depression started around 8th grade for me, and that was back in 2014. What? Come here. 2014, right before 9th grade, so right at the end of 8th grade year, I lost my best friend, my boyfriend, and my house all within the exact same week. They all left my life, and it was a really, really hard time for me. I became very suicidal. I didn't know what to do anymore. I wasn't living with my mom. I decided to go live with a friend while my mom was trying to find a place to stay. I had no contact with my best friend / boyfriend at the time anymore. It was just a lot of drama, and it was very hard for me to cope with it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to go about it. So I got into alcohol at the house that I was staying at. I started letting guys take advantage of me because I just said fuck it to everything. I didn't care about anything anymore. I didn't feel anything anymore. And the first time I tried to take my life was around August of 2014. I tried jumping off of a high balcony, and my friend stopped me, and she pulled me off and just put me in her arms and just sat there crying with me. I didn't know what to do. I felt like everything I've ever loved or wanted to be was gone for forever. After that, she showed me that I would be okay. She helped me get in contact with my ex-boyfriend, best friend person, and she told me that everything was going to be okay. I wasn't going to die. I would be fine. He just needed time, from everything that we went through. So I said, okay, I'm going to give life another shot. I'm just starting high school next year, this year. So I'm going to try. So I did. I started freshman year. I saw my ex the first day of school. We kind of talked, messing around. We were just hanging out. So I started to feel a lot better, but his mom still couldn't know that we were friends. Then freshman year, I got into a lot of stuff. I tried out for cheer. I didn't make it in, but that's fine because I wanted to do the play as well, because I did all the musicals in middle school. So my freshman year, I got into the play, and I was also doing track as well. I also did forensics for a while, so that was really fun. I was involved in a lot of stuff, so I didn't really have time to think about the bad things that were happening in my life. But at the time, I was also being emotionally abusive towards my mom. and she was also being emotionally and verbally abusive as well, but we were both doing it back and forth to each other because I was starting to hit an age where I started to understand other stuff, and I wanted everything my way, so that just kind of took a toll on me because I really messed up mine and my mom's relationship that way for quite a bit. I got into the play, as I just said, and I was playing 4 characters. I was the prologue, Lady Montague, Page to Paris, and the wedding planner. So as you can imagine, I was in a lot. I was in all 6 shows. I was in both casts, so I wasn't in like one specific thing. And it was hard for me because in middle school I was just in the chorus for the musicals. I didn't, I wasn't really up there all the time, but I was. But this time I actually had lines, I had costumes, like I had a microphone. I was just up, up, up. And being the prologue, I had to start the show. Like the curtains opened and boom, there I was. So my anxiety then started to come about then. That is when I got my anxiety. I did have anxiety attacks in like 8th grade, but I didn't know what they were. I thought I was just upset, but this now I had anxiety. At the time, I didn't know that I still had, or I didn't even know I had depression. I was questioning it, but I didn't know that I had it. Well, freshman year went really well. I passed all my classes, good grades. I was doing really good. I made so many new friends. I was going to all the games. I started talking to my ex again. We were hanging out at games and stuff, and I met his new girlfriend. And that's when I found out that he was also bisexual. So as you can imagine, I was heartbroken because we were best friends for around 3 years and he knew it all along, but he didn't think to tell me first. He went and told somebody he's been dating for like a week and somebody he's known for like maybe half of the summer. So I was devastated. We were talking the end of freshman year. We actually were allowed to be friends again. Kinda. Like his mom knew we were talking, but she still didn't like it. So I was okay with that. That brought me up a lot. Then at the end of freshman year, I got a new boyfriend. And things were going really well with him, but he ended up breaking up with me because I became super clingy. I was scared to lose another person that I really liked because of what happened the last time. This time after this breakup, I was a lot better. I was okay, I didn't react, I didn't act out or anything, so I was doing really well with that. So after that, my sophomore year came about and we were doing this new schedule called the Flex Mod at our school. And it was a lot a lot harder. It was very difficult for me to do that because it was a different schedule. It was just harder. But I was okay with it at first. I was doing pretty well. And then around November of 2015 now, my mom and her boyfriend got into a physical fight. It really took a toll on me because my mom and her boyfriend ended up going to jail. And I felt like it was my fault because I was the one who told her to run across the street. and defend herself. So, I felt like it was my fault. And that took a huge toll on me. Her boyfriend was living across the street from us at the time, so, like, obviously they broke up after that, but I was completely scared out of my mind to let my mom stay home by herself. I didn't want her hurt. Oh, this lighting is really bad. I didn't want her hurt. So I decided to start skipping school and just telling my mom that I was sick so I could stay home and, I guess, protect her. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I just wanted to be here. I wanted to make sure she was okay. I didn't want her hurt. So I started skipping a lot of school. A lot. I started failing my classes. And the days that I had my mom forced me to school, I would just sit in the bathroom and skip classes and constantly, text her whenever I felt like she would think that I was in class. It started to get really bad. My mom just started to give up, I guess. I was home constantly. And at first, I was up and about and with my mom. And then it just got to a point where I was getting really depressed. I didn't want to. I was getting depressed because I was taken away from everything from school. But that was my fault, because I chose to stay home, but that's just what happened to me. I started laying in bed all day. I couldn't get up. I would constantly be eating or eating nothing at all. I would be sleeping all day. And it got to a point where the school contacted us and I got a social worker. I had to go to court. I was put on 1 year of having a social worker. After that happened, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to summer school. So I did. I did go both times. It's just, there's a time that in summer school, if you miss 2 days, you get kicked out of the program for that for that period that's going on, because there's 2 periods of summer school. So I ended up getting kicked out because I accidentally missed 2 days. Because our Jeep would not start. So it wasn't my fault. I was trying to find a ride to school. But I was already late, and if you're late, it's like you can't come in. So that ended up happening. I had to go back to court. My social worker sent me to shelter care for 2 nights. And if you don't know what shelter care is, it's basically a before jail situation. It's a house where you're locked in. You can't have your own items other than your clothes. They give you deodorant and a toothbrush and stuff. It's basically like jail, but you're not in jail. And all you do is read. Or, if you have a cool person that's working there, they take you to the park and stuff for like an hour, if that. And it's a punishment. So I ended up going there. And then when I got out, I was really depressed. I was like, I hate this. Why the hell did this happen? It wasn't really my fault, but I still took my punishment. I then had 10 days hanging over my head that if I messed up in school again, I would be in shelter care for 10 days. Well, that didn't end up happening either. around August, after my sophomore year, so around August of 2016, is when things started to go really bad. But another thing that happened is that I ended up losing my job over my sophomore year because I wasn't just missing school. I was calling into work too. I didn't want to. I was stuck. I was completely stuck. But around August of 2016, I tried to take my own life. I took my medication because by this time they found out that I had depression. So I ended up overdosing on my medication, and it was bad. My mom ended up taking me to the emergency room. I was put on an IV drip, and I also had to drink charcoal, and they told me that I'm lucky that I got there, because if my mom wouldn't have taken me, there could have been a strong chance that I would have died. The medication I took, I'm not going to tell you guys, but the medication I took, if you overdose with it, it gives you really, really, really bad seizures. It's horrible. It completely messes you up, so I ended up going to the emergency room. They took blood. I had to drink charcoal. I had the IV drip. I was there for about 3 hours. And then they came in and they said, there's no room here. Or there's room here in this K1 unit, but you can't stay here overnight. We have to bring you to Children's in Milwaukee. And I was like, why? And they were like, because your symptoms are bad. They had me hooked up to a heart monitor and everything, and they put me in an ambulance, and they put tons of bracelets around me, like fall risk, like a warning one that I had to be watched at all times or something. But when I got to Children's in Milwaukee, they ended up putting me in the ICU unit, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that it was one of the units that were on lockdown. I had a person in the room with me at all times. It was a nurse in training, she or he would be sitting in the room the entire time. I was only there for a day, but I was on a lot of risk factors. They were scared because my heart was not regular, I guess. And they had to hook me up to tons of monitors when I was there. And I had my IV in for 2 days. Or maybe 3, I don't know. All I know is that my arm was really painful. After that, I was transported back home by the ambulance, and I was put into the K1 unit there. And if you don't know what that is, K1 is a place in a hospital that if you have mental illness or, well, I guess anxiety falls underneath mental illness. Any mental disorder, you can go there and you can seek treatment and help. But I was there for 3 days, and then after that, my medicine got changed. And I was happy to be back home. I thought things were going to be okay. My junior year started off the year really well. I was proud of myself. I got a new job, which I ended up quitting because I hated it. But I got a new job. and then I quit, obviously. I was at school a lot. I was doing really well, passing all my classes. I was excited. And then halfway through, a person came into my life who was very toxic. I let him stay with me because he needed a place to stay and I wanted to be a nice friend, but then I started doing everything for him. I would smoke a lot. And by this point in time, I started smoking cigarettes too because my anxiety was horrible and I thought it was going to help. And then I got addicted to it. But I started smoking a lot. I was popping pills and drinking a lot of alcohol. I was stealing stuff from my mom. I was letting him destroy our house. And that was a really low point in my life. By this time, I was best friends with my ex again. The first ex from middle school. We were good friends, and now he was fully gay, so I was like, oh, I'm always gonna be in love with him. No matter what, but halfway through my junior year, I just started getting horribly depressed, and my mom was very disappointed with me because of everything that was going on. So around November, I decided to go back to the K1 unit. Now, this is before the toxic person came into my life. I decided to go back, but this time I went to one in Milwaukee, and I stayed for 3 days. It was good. I liked it. No, I was there for 4 days. I liked it. It helped a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. I got this. And so I did come back home. And then the toxic person came into my life around March. But before that, I was just really depressed. There was stuff going on at home. I felt like I was losing all my friends. So I was trying to cut myself and hurt myself. And I went back to the hospital. And this time I was there over Valentine's Day. I was there for 5 days. After that, I came back feeling a bit better. I thought that I learned new stuff and that I would be okay. Then around March, I got a boyfriend. We did it for 2 weeks. I was really good, and then it was nice. And then we broke up, but he started a lot of rumors about me, and then I got super depressed, and I was just done. I didn't know what to do, and I know, I keep on saying I'm getting really depressed about these boyfriends and stuff, but it's like no one ever stays in my life permanently. At some point in time, everyone leaves me. And that's what hurt. So I was just really depressed that way. And then this toxic person came into my life, and I just started acting all out of control. As I said, I was either high on pills, high on drugs, weed, or drunk for at least 2 months. And within those time periods, I tried taking my own life more times than I could imagine. It was horrible. My mom had a lockbox, so I wouldn't get into any of the pills, and I ended up breaking it open so I could grab pills out and end my life. I didn't want to be here. I ended up going back to shelter care because at this point in time, I was very truant. I was skipping school again. And I just knew there was no way in hell my life would get better. After I went to shelter care, I was there for 3 days. It was horrible. Thank God I got like a day. It was at shelter care, it goes by nights, not exactly days. So I had a full day of school. So then I had that night, and then I had one more day of school, and then I had that night, and then I just had one day that I had to be there, basically, because when you're at school, you don't have to, like, you just have to sleep there, basically. Anyway, so that happened, and then things were just going really bad with my mom. School ended, and then so much drama broke out. I can't even explain it. My mom made a bad post about me on Facebook, and I ended up calling the cops. Well, 2 people came over they're in the middle of me and my mom, because my mom and I are really close in age. She's only 20 years older than me. So these 2 girls were in the middle of both of our ages. So they're friends with both of us, but they ended up coming over and calling the cops to get the post removed. And then I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this. I'm gone. I don't want to do it. So I ended up moving to my dad's house. And I knew I had to do summer school, because after I got rid of that toxic person in my life, I was like, you know what, Bailey, you gotta graduate on time. You gotta do this. But there was no way I was going to be able to do summer school if I was living with my dad. So I ended up coming back here. There was this incident. And my mom ended up calling the cops, because I was telling her that I wanted to die again. She was calling a load of bullshit on it. So the cop came and got me. I went back to K1. I was there for 4 days. But that's just because it was so much. Like, it was a lot. I got new sleeping medication and things were good, but the day I came back from K1, there was an incident with me and my mom where I didn't want to pick up a broken plate without sweeping it, but there was also water, so I had to get that, and it was just a complete total misunderstanding. My mom ended up calling the cops on me because I was not listening. After that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna move in with my friend. I don't think we're good together right now. Our relationship is very toxic. So I ended up moving in with my friend. I lived there for about a month. I was doing summer school every single day. I was really proud of myself. I was flying through my classes. Oh, and side note, at this point in time, my ex, the one who was gay or whatever, the one that I said I would always love, he cut me out of his life because he told me that, or his boyfriend contacted me and said something along the lines of he wants to hurt himself or something, and I got scared, so I went to her school counselor, and he completely took it out of proportion and stuff, so he completely cut me out of his life. So I also lost my best friend at this point too. But I ended up moving in with my other, best friend. And I was living with her for about a month. We were both going to summer school. Things were good. And then the toxic person decided to come back. But me being dumb, I was the one who brought him back. This time I wasn't doing drugs or anything. I wasn't getting into bad things. But there was a point where we got into a really big fight, and I was sitting in the other room because there was a loft, and he texted me on Snapchat saying something along the lines of "go kill yourself," and I snapped. I completely snapped. I ran out in the room and I was like, "What the hell did you just say?" And I just started swinging because he knew what I was going through. He lived with me for like 4 months and he told me that. So after that, he got kicked out of the house, obviously, because I was living there and he was just staying there, I guess. I don't know. Then July 1st, I was officially off of papers. No more social worker. I was doing really well in summer school, so I got off of I didn't have my social worker anymore, and then July 2nd, I ended up getting into a physical fight with my best friend who I was living with. Sorry, there was an interruption. Anyways, there was things said, and she was in a really bad mood for some odd reason, and she ended up pushing me, and she thought I hit her when I was just trying to grab my balance. And if you're watching this, we already had this conversation. I don't know if I hit first, but if I did, we talked this through. Anyways, we ended up getting into a physical fight. The cops were called. I ended up moving back in with my mom. And it was hard at first. It really was. Because there was new rules. My mom had a new setup and everything. But at this point, I was no longer taking my depression medication. I was back with my mom. We had a break. Everything was good. We were doing a lot better. I ended up finishing summer school. I passed all 3 of my classes. I got 1.5 credits. I was super excited for the new year. And everything, my mom's and I's relationship was a lot better. So at this point, my anxiety and my depression were, I wouldn't say gone, but they were not active. They were dormant. And they still are. I mean, my anxiety pops up a lot more than I can say, but as of right now, I'm doing a hell of a lot better. I got into a new school and I'm flying through my classes. I'm getting really good grades and I'm doing amazing and I'm super proud of myself for it, and things just couldn't be going better. I still have a lot that I need to go through and that's going to happen, but as of right now, things are a lot better, and I just want to tell you guys that there is hope. You will get better. It's not going to be forever. Right now it may feel like it's the end of the world, but look at me. I was in the hospital 4 times. I tried taking my life more times than I can count. I lost a lot in my life, but I'm here and I'm doing a lot better now, and I'm up. And I just want you guys to know that you can do it, and I will be here for you if you need help. Just I'll be here. But that is my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment and like and subscribe. I know this is like a really sad story, I guess, but yeah. But thank you guys for watching and listening to me ramble on about everything, but I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you.